So you just got your first airsoft gas blowback. And oh man, are you excited to open this bad boy up. You've taken a leap of faith to kiss your windy gearbox goodbye. You open it up, take it out of the box, you realize this nasty layer of grease everywhere, and you really don't know where to start. Before you take it outside and run it around in front of your neighbors like an immature brat, let's go back inside and answer a ton of questions I get about gas blowbacks, disprove a ton of myths that I hear on the field all of the time, and let you know it's not as scary of a journey as you think. It's worthwhile, and everything that I've learned over my years as a gas blowback snob. That new fancy toy of yours is expensive, so don't just go outside and start plinking around. There's a couple things that you have to do first. We're talking take the mag out, and what you're going to want to do is figure out how to strip that thing down, because we have to make sure we clean the inside. See, when these things come from the factory, often they come with a slew of problems. They just got machined and they are covered in muck, gunk, and dirt, plus some sort of nasty residue that honestly you don't want in there. Now you see, a majority of this residue is actually just their lubricant that they use to keep all the parts from rusting during shipping, plus the leftover machining parts that it's like dust, metals, you name it. Get it out. Now, besides call your hit, airsofters love screaming use silicone oil. Tell them to shush, because what I want you to do is pick up some super lube, make sure it says multi-purpose synthetic grease. This stuff is phenomenal, it's cheap, and it works perfect inside your airsoft gas blowbacks. Pop the tube open, take a little bit out on your finger, and you're going to want to make sure you rub that all around any points on the replica that are moving, but make sure you keep it away from your inner barrel and your hop-up bucking. You'll just kill your accuracy. Next, it's time to clean out your barrel. What you're going to want to do first is take your replica and completely disengage the hop-up as far as it will go. Now, for longer replicas, you're going to want a barrel cleaning rod and then some sort of a cloth, like a barrel cleaning cloth you could purchase off Amazon. But for shorter barrels, we can just use a Q-tip and some isopropyl alcohol. Get that Q-tip nice and wet with the isopropyl alcohol, and we're just going to drop that down the barrel and twist it around as much as we can, all the way back into the hop unit, and pull it on out. And you want to go until it's clean. Obviously, you can already tell mine is clean, but you get the point. There's rumors that gas replicas are inherently less accurate than AEGs and HPA. And while that's not necessarily incorrect, a majority of the problem is the fact that the hop-up bucking and the barrel are either cheap or they're dirty. And I'm telling you, just cleaning it will make a world of a difference. I have seen more than once people on the field whose AEGs shoot worse than my GBBs, and most of it's because either A, they don't know how to build an AEG, or B, they've just never cleaned it. The next part is pretty simple. We have to maintain these replicas. If we have to take anything apart, upgrade anything, move anything around, tighten things, you name it, what we're going to need is to pick up a multi-tool set. And this is just a set that has a ton of small little bits that are going to allow us to maintain our replicas. Something else I wish somebody told me back when I had first gotten into gas blowbacks is to pick up 2 sets of Allen keys. There's a reason we need these. We need inch and metric. And the reason being is because some of these replicas don't come from inside the States. Depending on where they're manufactured will depend on what types of countersunk bolts, countersunk screws, and things that we are using. It is very easy to strip some of the really soft and cheap Allen bolts that we're going to have inside of our replicas. So if you use the wrong size, you're going to have a problem. So if it wiggles a little bit, make sure you switch off to the other one. It might be metric, it might be inch. Keep that in mind. So now you've stepped outside and you're ready to field that first replica. Well, we have to power it. So you pick up something like some simple green gas. Keep in mind, this is high pressure. This is an actual bottle of green gas. They come in different sizes and different shapes and different companies. But green gas, everyone's like, oh, just throw green gas in it. It's going to work fine. Well, that might be your most expensive option, and it also might not work depending on the temperature near your area. See, green gas is a mixture of silicone oil and propane, and green gas works just fine, but when it starts to get really cold, what you need to do is up the pressure. So you're going to move into something like either high pressure or a red gas as it starts to get colder. And if it gets really, really cold, you're going to want to move to something like black gas. Just keep in mind that some replicas are built a little bit different than others, and with, not so strong parts, something like a really high pressure gas could break the internals if it's used during a time where it's not cold enough, because that colder weather will actually help bring the pressure down. So it kind of like evens itself out. Now the problem with these bottles is they're they're expensive. Sometimes you can buy them online, and I've seen it for like 15 bucks. But the moment that you go into stores, like if you're gonna pick them up from your local field, I've seen some places hike up the price up to like $25. So what you're gonna do is go pick up this funky little doohickey. This is the Jaeger Precision Propane Adapter. Now, is it a little on the costly end? Yeah, probably costs about the same as 2 bottles of green gas, but in the long run, this is going to save you a ton of money. Also, I just want to say I've been using this for almost a year now, and I gotta say Jaeger did a wonderful job on this. He's a fellow YouTuber. Go check him out. Then you're going to swing over to your local Walmart and pick up some Coleman propane. No, we're not having a barbecue. We're actually going to take this guy on and screw it on top. And we're going to use this for our airsoft replicas whenever the weather's warm. Like we said before with those green gas bottles, those are a mixture of silicone and propane. This is just propane, and it will work in your gas replicas just fine. Plus, these, I've seen them go, if you buy them in bulk, for as low as like $4 or $5. And the only difference is it doesn't have silicone oil in it. You're going to have to lubricate your replica a little bit more frequently because it might dry it out, but that silicone oil isn't enough to lubricate your replicas, so you have to do it anyway. Another thing to note, drum mags work better in the cold too, just because they have a larger reservoir. Congratulations, you've made it out to the field, and you've made it a lot further than most. And now it's 22 degrees out, that's Fahrenheit, and everybody's blown away that your Airsoft GBB still works in the cold. And that's because you chose the right gas for the right temperature. There's only one problem though. You hear some guy tell you, well, that doesn't have steel internals, so it's probably going to break. You see, that's not necessarily true. Steel internals don't always mean more better. More than anything, we're kind of looking at the quality of the parts and if they're all the same material. Because steel in some areas, like if you have a steel hammer, but your sears and stuff that connect to it aren't steel, well, those harder parts like the steel are going to wear down on things like the aluminum and pot metal parts on the inside. So the contact points are thick and solid, and all of the parts are made of the same material. Chances are it's going to last longer than if you have one steel part or 2 steel parts, and everything else is just made of crap. Speaking of drum mags, what should we do when we get home? Should we take all the BBs out to preserve the springs, or should we gas them out? Well, not necessarily. Now you see, yes, these BBs are under spring tension, and it does help to actually take the BBs out to preserve those springs, so maybe you just want to go ahead and fire them out. Now, way in the past, when things were made with cheaper parts, that was a problem, but I'm going to be honest with you, most of the time the springs are either sourceable or strong enough now to where that's not necessarily a problem, and I've left BBs inside of my mags for upwards of 2 years. I've walked outside, plinked with them, and it works just fine. So it might not be the same with all replicas or for every situation. You can empty them, but you don't have to. But what about the gas? Did you get rid of that? Ugh, that was an awful sound. No, 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 no. Leave the gas on the inside. What leaving the gas on the inside of the gas reservoir inside of your mags does is it actually helps keep the lubrication on the O-rings and then also keeps them under pressure. And O-rings under pressure will hold the seal and not dry out as quick as O-rings that are not and exposed to air. So you're going to want to leave gas inside these at all times. Just make sure you store them in a safe place, like not near an oil burner or something. And please, please, please don't leave your mags in a hot car. So you just finished your first full game day with your gas blowback, and you're no simpleton, and neither are your friends, and both of you are really excited to throw some attachments on here, so you head into the pro shop and you see what they have to offer. First thing you see that catches your eye is a shush can. And your friend says, bro, it'd be so sick if you got one of those and made that thing silent. Will it? Will it even work at all? You see, that totally depends. With gas replicas, sort of. And a lot of the reason is because most of the noise with the gas replica is going to be coming from in here. There's not much sound coming out of the BB or the gas traveling out of the barrel. A majority of it is coming from the things click-clacking on the inside, like your bolt reciprocating and your hammer slapping and all the metal parts in here going ding, ding, ding. Similarly to AEGs, where the gearbox just makes a ton of noise, it's not actually going to quiet anything down. Now, it will quiet it a little bit, but where this is really going to shine is gas non-blowbacks, like the G&G LEV-R, which means that when you load a round, nothing blows back, it just uses gas to expel the BB out the front, and especially springers and snipers. So, it'll kind of work, but not too much. Now, realistically, this could be like a 3-hour-long video, and if I'm being totally honest, I only covered a fraction of it. There is so much that you need to keep in mind here, it's not even funny. But that doesn't mean it's scary. I mean, we could dive into things like speed loaders, general gas efficiency, what replicas are good, what companies to trust, and what to stay away from. But I'm going to be honest, a lot of that varies almost constantly, so do me a favor. Have a fun time. Enjoy a gas blowback. And let me know in the comment section below if there's anything that I forgot or any tips and tricks that you think players should know, or myths, or you name it. Peace.